The next person I'm going to invite up to this podium, I just want to give you a bit of background on where this began. 2 years ago, myself and Tanya Hall worked together for a number of years, and 2 years ago we both found ourselves not working together anymore. We both worked for someone else, and Tanya, who had suffered heart disease since a child, had entered hospital. She came home, and I nipped round to see her in a flat in South Melbourne as it was, and she said, "I really, really want to do something." And I thought, especially after Chris said, you know, the big P, I'm thinking, what does she want to do? What she wanted to do, and we talked about it then, was set up very simply, a website to help fellow adults that are suffering from heart disease. And that's moved on considerably since the inception of that 2 years ago. Please put your hands together for the lady whom is the CEO and founder of Hearts4Heart, Tanya Hall.
Wow. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you so much for being a part of our special evening and supporting Hearts4Heart. So what comes to mind when one thinks of heart disease? Most people see heart disease as a disease that affects only the elderly, but this isn't the case. There are many young adults like me who suffer with heart disease. Heart disease affects 3.4 million Australians. That's over 1 out of 6 people. Heart disease is the leading cause of death and the biggest cost to our health system. One adult under the age of 35 dies every 16 hours of heart disease, and 50% of those deaths are preventable. Just by getting a heart check, you could minimise your risks and save your life. People are surprised when I tell them that I have heart disease, as I don't fit their belief system that it affects the elderly. By looking at me, you couldn't tell that I have heart disease, and many of you could be living with it too and not know it. So what is it like to live with heart disease? Well, 12 months ago, I was at a loss as to where my life was headed. I didn't know how much longer I would be here. I felt completely isolated, and I felt like nobody understood me. Work colleagues didn't understand why I'd be at work one day and hospital the next. Friends and family distanced themselves from me. Every time I left the house, an underlying anxiety followed me, as I didn't know when I would be calling my next ambulance. I would feel like a burden to be calling my friends and family because I knew it would be an all-nighter in the emergency trauma department. I'd be concerned that they'd be having to work the next day, and so often I didn't call them. The issue with this is that in the morning after a night, being pumped with full of medication, it'd be difficult to leave the next day because there's no services to help you leave the hospital. So I'd be often fully medicated and stumble out the door. I would often force myself to go to work when I know that I shouldn't. I'd feel claustrophobic going into meetings because I'd be afraid of the next event that I might have, and I didn't want to cause a scene. No one understood the life that I faced. They weren't there in the emergency department the night before, in the trauma department with machines hanging off me and me fighting for my life. They didn't experience the feeling of my veins collapsing because of the amount of needles that I'd had and the other side effects from the drugs that I take. I know what it's like to live with heart disease. I'm not here to depress you, but I'm here to tell you that there are many other adults like me that need your help. Young adults face a number of issues that young children and adults don't. They might be single like me, or they might have a family to support, but either way, they still need to support themselves and they need to go to work. and they struggle to live with normal lives, and they struggle financially. Then there is the issue with our children. They are accustomed to having all of this support, and then the moment they go into the adult hospitals, they too slip through the gaps. Every cardiac patient I meet say the same thing. No one understands what it's like to have heart disease. They don't understand the implications. So after my experience, I didn't want to sit around and feel helpless. So I decided to do something about it. Up until now, there has never been any support for young adults like me with heart disease. So I started Hearts4Heart to make a difference in many ways. These are to support, empower and educate young adults with heart disease, to raise awareness that heart disease affects people of all ages, and to save lives. Every day I get up for a reason that's bigger than me, and that's to make Hearts4Heart happen. But I can't do it alone. We're asking you tonight to dig deep and to help Hearts4Heart build a solid foundation and a bright future. Without your help, we simply won't exist. We won't be able to support young adults with heart disease, and we won't be able to save lives. And in turn, I hope that we've provided you with a ripper of a night. Finally, I'd like to thank some very important people that has made Hearts4Heart happen. Firstly, Neil Patterson. I'm not sure if there are not many people in this world who have 500 people reporting to them, and who will know whichever person is having a bad day. You've held flannels to my head in hospital. You've made me giggle when I haven't been able to open my eyes. You've been my mentor and you've been my friend.
Let me give you a kiss then.
And I thank you. To my beautiful mum, there is no one else that I love anymore in this world. I know that you have suffered just as much as I have. I don't know where you are, but only in a different way. And that is why Hearts4Heart is here, not just to support the cardiac patients, but the family, the carers and friends too. To Tegan, who hasn't spoken yet, thank you for being so brave with sharing your story. For the greater good of people, it's people like you who inspire people like me. To all the amazing, beautiful friends in my life. You've all contributed so much, personally and to Hearts4Heart. You've been there through times of hardship, and it's really wonderful to have you by my side now. To all the people that have flown in from interstate, it really is truly an honour to have you here. To Zaf from A2Z Designs, thank you so much. You've done an amazing job on our website, and I appreciate the patience from my billion phone calls and trillion emails. To Kutesh, La Soul, Latitude Dance and DJ Ben Copen, thank you so much for your amazing performances. To all of our sponsors, thank you so much for your tremendous support. You have seriously made tonight possible. To Chris Amzarian, who is the coolest professor ever. He literally was the first professor I've ever heard say cool. Your work in humanity and what you do for cardiac patients is just seriously amazing, and we thank you. You're amazing, so thank you. And to my Hearts4Heart team, they're all standing behind me. Bless you. Every single one of you deserve to be recognised tonight. What you've done has blown my mind. When I placed an ad at Swinburne and RMIT, I was hoping for a little bit of help, but what they've provided has been incredible. I mean, look at this. I can't tell you how much of an honour it's been working with you all, and I appreciate every second. And finally, to all of you for supporting us, and seriously, for making my dream come true. Together we can raise awareness, support young adults with heart disease, and save lives. Thank you.